to make it uber official.
Sinking. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And we're now having this guy. Yeah, no. All right.
To avoid exactly this kind of conversation.
Exactly.
Yes. All right, there we go. We're in.
Sure.
Howdy, viewers. Sorry.
All right. So now we're back. We're thinking it sounds like the conversation cut off right around when Enwiener was explaining that not all of the party was captured at once. What else did we talk about briefly after that? It was brought up to Mirana Telev that Leah was there and that she was
Distraught.
yes, that she was distraught, that she recognized the wine as having been a gift from some time ago, but didn't mention any names that her husband was connected to. And Thenmir handed back 20 pieces of gold, stating that this was what he was able to collect, that the wife did not say anything about, didn't seem to have any connection to or any additional information about the papers and her husband's dealings. At the end of this exchange, Mirana Telev turned to Thenmir and stated, I appreciate the information that you have provided me, but I must insist and remind you that we encourage honesty, and if you have held anything back or in any way have, God forbid, intended any sort of deception, and she lays a hand on Thenmir's shoulder with a weight that tells him not to try and remove it, there would be consequences, particularly for our people, and as well as for your party. Unavoidable, it would not. Please do not think it would be out of any sort of malice from us, but we require you to be entirely honest in all of what you say. Are you sure there is nothing that you have omitted?
And because she's up so close, hand on the shoulder, which the hand on the shoulder Thenmir would flinch at, but let it be. He's gonna then drop his voice to a whisper that I'm not going to do because my microphone likes to peak. And he's going to say, well, there is one other thing I wanted to say, but in greater discretion than these surroundings.
You guys are alone. There is no one else in the room now.
Yes, but the room has doors.
I see.
So, I'm gonna. There was one other thing that he said that I was avoiding anyone hearing. The madness that he was spewing. You don't need to go to collect information from his home. You need to go to destroy information. With my party and the guards there, I didn't get the chance to burn the papers like I wanted to, but he apparently has information that could be used to blackmail you. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something there that he has that he wants to use, wanted, I suppose, now that he's dead. He wanted to use against you. You need to send someone to destroy that information before anyone finds it.
Anything else?
That's all I know.
Thank you for your honesty. She drops her hands. And of course, you would do very well to forget any sort of conspiracies or information that he may have, in his misguidedness, shared with you.
I'm sorry, he was sharing conspiracies? I don't remember anything about that.
Blackmail tends to circulate around the same thing. We were aware of what the threat was.
I merely mean that as a way of adding levity while also saying I've already forgotten it.
Very good.
You have my word.
Where is it that you are staying, my good friend?
Oh, what was the name of it? It was the Sleeping Viper.
Yes.
Right? Sleeping Viper.
A fake one?
That's where we're going. Oh, the fake one? Or
That's the one that we originally went to and then decided not to stay at.
That was the super shady one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just keep sending people who we're afraid of to tell them to look there.
Well, I'm trying to decide if I would say that one or where we actually are.
Oh, dang.
It's up to
I would
you. I mean, you
probably...
guys are on kind of equal footing in terms of.
See, I
trust
don't
and
want
whatnot.
these people to then eventually find us and be like, hey, you lied about where you were, because these people are really powerful. I'm going to say where we actually are staying, the Hole in the Wall Inn.
Okay. We really should pick a name for that. I'll come up with something.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I had one, but I don't remember what it was, which means it can't have been very good.
The Culvert.
Hey! I like it.
Culvert. Okay. The culvert. Yes. Excellent. I will have one of our guards escort you there.
Thank you.
Only for your own safety.
Do I still have the seal that they gave us?
Unless you gave it to someone else, in the party, you should have it.
Okay.
Do you have it as Francis? I thought Francis had something.
No,
he has the receipt letter.
No, I have the warrant. I have the warrant with the Telev's seal on it. Or the
Oh,
way
I
they
have-
who has
signed
the
it.
receipt?
I have the little icon that they gave us to prove that we were working for them.
Right. Who has the receipt letter?
It's probably what?
No, that was me. I had
Oh.
also taken that.
Okay, yeah.
Are you not giving it?
No, it's at this moment that I would then reach down to my boot and pull it out and say, he did, however, sign this, as I turn to walk out.
Thank you.
I have the warrant in my boot with their signature on it.
Okay. She follows you out and says softly to the guard standing there, you assume in her own language something, and he bows and walks with you to go to the inn.
Okay.
Anything? Yep. All right. Barring anything else that you wanted to do, you do not see Unheady as you're leaving the building, or leaving the house.
If I see one along the way back, I would like to try to find a place to buy some wood, but I'm not going to go out of my way.
Okay. Well, you guys are up against the wall, so the guard stays very close in step with you throughout the time. If you would need to let him know that you want to stop, but you guys do go along. So he skirts along some side streets, but they're along the outskirts of the market. At this point, it's starting to get towards like late afternoon, and you're noticing that a couple of the vendors are already starting to pack up a little bit. But there's still quite a bit of hustle and bustle from that area, so you could detour there if you wanted to.
I'm not going to take a detour.
Okay.
If it was on my route, I would stop in, but I'm not going to take a detour.
Okay. Yeah. Do you notice that the guard is specifically, like, not going through the main thoroughfares? Like, he's not sneaking around, but he's just avoiding
Heavily trafficked areas.
Yeah. It doesn't take long to escort you back to the inn. As soon as he arrives there, as you arrive there, he nods to you and wordlessly and walks away without saying another word.
I give him a brief, small bow.
He walks off, and you are now standing outside of the inn. What would you like to do?
Run straight up to the room.
Okay.
Not literally run, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So you go on that. And Francis and Azalea's not here, and Clover. I'm assuming you guys are all just sitting, chilling. I don't know. Francis, what have you been doing?
I can tell you what Clover was doing.
What was Clover doing?
Clover was packing.
Clover was packing and then unpacking and repacking in a new organizing way,
Yes.
and then found a new organization and unpacked and repacked, and yeah.
That is correct.
And freaking out.
Yes.
Yeah, she was just stressing out.
Panic. Yes.
Yes, I would say that you know what I was doing? I was making a rope out of the bedclothes. Oh no, why would I do that? I have rope. So
yes. So what do you want to have been doing in the past couple of hours since you arrived?
Just quoting his mother.
Quoting my mother, I imagine. I imagine that
at some point Clover turns to you. Francis, shut up, please.
Okay, I would imagine.
God's bless your mother, but shut up.
Well,
Sorry,
my mother would
sorry,
always say that
sorry, that was really mean, but just please stop talking.
Trust me, I understand. All right, so I think what I would do is I would get food for the ladies and me. I'd make sure that we have like a chicken. Like what I'd do is I get some extra food. Like I
An
get
entire
more.
live chicken.
Well, no, I get more than usual food. Pack what I could, and we would eat some, but we try and pack away as much food as possible in case we need to leave in a hurry.
Okay,
So
and that's what you've been doing for the
that's
past
what
couple
we've been
hours.
doing. Probably just talking. I'm probably trying to calm Clover and Azalea down a little bit. Well, even though I'm probably freaking out myself.
also I don't know if anyone's gonna get this reference, but he's not getting one chicken, he's getting 4 whole fried chickens and a Coke.
A Diet Coke. Thank you. I'm trying to watch my waistline.
Gosh. Okay.
All right.
Wait, what is that a reference to? Oh wait.
Quote from the Blues Brothers.
Okay. I was thinking of something else, but then I realized that you said Coke.
Can I
so-
help you, boys? Got any white bread?
The tall one wants white bread toasted dry with nothing on it, and the other one wants 4 whole fried chickens and a Coke.
Alright,
The Blues Brothers. The Blues Brothers is a movie that it exists. It happened.
so yes, you Fenrir, you walk into the room to find them in kind of a state of disarray. There's a couple of half-eaten chickens sitting on the table.
I'm just gonna
Azalea
whip my sword out as he comes in.
Hand snaps to the gun in the holster.
Oh,
Francis, it's only me.
All right. Everybody can breathe again. Unclench.
Azalea like kind of audibly squeaked as soon as the door opened. Is it time to go yet? I really feel like we should probably be getting going at this point.
Who all is
Throw the rest of us
currently
under
at the prison?
box. Thanks.
Or at the
What?
guardhouse? It's
As far as you know, it is
Ven and
Felix,
Felix
Ven, and Amari.
and Amari.
Yeah.
And Stuko.
Amari and Stuko.
Stuko
Todd
just
is
kind
with
of goes
us.
along with Amari.
Yeah.
Todd is with
Stuko is in
us.
bad mood.
He's like her carry-on.
Okay.
Follow the bouncing saber.
As long
Cat.
as he
Follow the
doesn't
bouncing
eat carrion.
I mean, probably
I mean, that's a chunky.
carnivorous cat.
It's a chunky carnivorous cat.
Carnivorous.
Indeed.
Carnivorous.
Carnivorous.
That nibbles on things.
Carnivorous.
Anyway,
Nibble, nibble.
So as soon as I get in,
Yeah.
the door snaps closed, lock clicks, and I say, "All of you, come closer."
Come closer.
Come closer. Closer. I got you. No. I'm going to then explain that I just went to the Talevs. I told a lie that I was kind of proud of and explained to them what lie it was, that it was really close to the truth, but
Okay.
that the minor things being that the gold was just scattered on the street, that peasants picked it up.
Okay.
That he was the one that threw the box into the fireplace.
Okay.
He seemed to be ranting like someone driven to madness by fear. He wasn't like telling us anything of great significance other than the fact that he had some sort of blackmail material, and that the papers were incredibly important. Also that the money had been scattered before his wife got back.
Good
Just
deal.
so that the story can be straight for all of us.
Okay.
Azalea's gonna look at you like, you told to let. Does everyone else know? Are they going to come looking for us? Do they want to ask us more questions? We have to get out.
Shh. It's
I
okay.
love how Azalea is gonna throw those of us who aren't there onto the bus.
It's okay, Azalea. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. My mother used to say that the best.
Clover just puts it.
No, I
I've
want to
already
hear
asked
this
God.
bit of mother's wisdom.
I've already asked
Like
the
the gosh of the
gods.
person wants to hear it.
I've already asked the gods to bless your mother. Please don't push it.
Wait, what did she say?
I've
said
already
just-
asked the gods to bless your mother. Please don't push it.
Being a gentleman, I will bow and relinquish my mother's wisdom.
I'm going to I'm going to unlock the door. And how much was it when we rented the room here? It was like 20 gold a night or some crap like that.
Ask him.
Oh no, it wasn't
That's
that
a
bad.
stupidly
That would be
expensive inn.
ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that it was
That doesn't
not
sound
like
right.
that.
I
It
feel
was-
like wasn't it like 5?
This place was super because we
Because
did
we
end
have
up in
the
honeymoon
honeymoon
This was,
suite.
I thought this one was in the silvers per night.
Yeah, it was in the silvers per night because this is like a super seedy inn. Like it's run by gnolls. Gnolls are like the
right.
bottom of society.
Okay. Well, I know that they probably don't have any spare rooms, but I'm going to run downstairs and, again, not literally run, but I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to see if any have opened up.
Oh, okay, smart.
Um,
I'm still not seeing what the angle is, but that's alright.
I think I know what your angle is. Even.
just go with me on this one.
No, I am. I'm just disappointed that I'm not brainy enough.
I'm pulling a Strider from Fellowship of the Rings. Go
I was
with me on
thinking of
this
the
one.
same
Nice.
thing.
Yeah, no,
Yes!
exactly. That,
Yes!
I was thinking about it, but oh yeah.
Okay,
Nice.
speaking of Fellowship of the Rings for a second, though, Amansul is another name for Weathertop.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just thought that was a fascinating connection of names. Also, Elrohir is one of Elrond's sons.
Ethan feels called out.
I didn't know that, but cool.
Andrew feels called out and didn't realize that either.
I forgot about that. Jeez, I'm a bad little Elrohir fan.
Wait, okay. Did we rip off Tolkien twice by complete accident?
Yes. You do go downstairs and ask at the front desk, and the Knoll kind of flips through his papers. There appears to be one room with a double bed.
How much is that per night?
It should be. How much did we say that this one was?
5 silver.
It's 2 silvers per night.
Okay. I'm going to pull out a gold piece and hand it to him and say, I want to rent that room for as long as this will get me, which should be 5 nights. Put it under the name Amenadiel.
I see. Would you? He takes down your information. Would you like anything brought up to the room?
No, but, and I'm going to lean in a little bit closer, like over the bar type thing. I'm going to pull out 5 more gold pieces and hold them out towards him. And I'm going to say, I would appreciate it if you gave a misleading description of the person who rented the room.
We would not give out the names of who stays here with us.
But if someone comes in asking for a dark elf like myself, or a halfling, someone of the description, and I'll give like very basic descriptions of the party members. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just avoid descriptions like those.
He glances
is yours.
down. He glances down at the gold. I am sorry, sir. We do not want to be entangled in any sorts of.
I pull out
run
15
with
more gold.
At your service.
So I hand him the 20 gold that I was gonna give to Mirana, plus the 1 gold for the room itself, and then I go back upstairs. I get Azalea, Clover, and all of our stuff except for like a couple of our bedrolls and stuff over to that other room, and tell them to stay in there with the door locked until they hear a specific knock, and I'll show it to them and I'll show it to Francis.
Okay, what is the specific knock?
It's 5 quick taps with a pause between 2 and 3. Yes.
Cool, thank you.
I'm gonna then go back over to the room that we were originally in, set up the bedrolls like they're slightly slept in, but still like people are planning to come back type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a small coin purse next to one of the pillows, leave a dagger next to another, that sort of thing. Make it look like people are planning to come back.
Ooh,
And then
half-eaten chickens.
get out. What?
Half-eaten chickens.
2. I'll leave 2 chicken. 2 half-eaten chickens.
2 chicken.
Two
I
chickens.
need 2 of the chicken.
2 chicken.
3
I cut off the
chickens.
S there.
That's funny.
2 half-eaten chicken and a Coke.
Alright. Any other,
Two chicken and a cook.
any other preparations you guys would like to make?
Nope.
Nope.
All right.
Groovy.
In that case, we will bounce back to.
Oh,
our
except
lovely-
that I'm gonna try to convince Francis to come with me to try and find the rest of our party.
Francis will come with you.
Okay.
But
Oh.
I
Oh shoot! Wait. Before you do that, I forgot. Then you went to like go look for people. So hold that thought before you guys go out, because depending on what Ven's doing, they may have found you already.
can I leave the rope with the girls?
Well, you haven't left yet,
Oh, okay.
so don't worry about it.
Sure.
Ven,
Mm.
anything that you want to do on your you exit the guardhouse with this guard. What do you do?
Go to the the best guest look is the inn, so that's probably where I'm headed.
Okay. All right. Then in that case, if you go straight there and then you don't go back, then I'm gonna say that wouldn't have taken you that long. So probably shortly after Thenmir gets back. Actually, no. I'm trying to think this out because we were
We
actually
run into them right
out.
as they're leaving.
And I'm
Um,
stress smoking my pipe, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. So I like that idea. Thank you. Francis, you leave the rope with the girls. And as you two men are coming down the stairs, the main door swings open, and then you appear in the doorway with the guard, and you see them standing on the stairs. Yes.
Shazam!
Anyway, and there you three are.
Howdy.
Hello. We need you.
Do you,
Yes.
Francis?
Ben?
I'm going to like kind of make a motion towards the door, like after you,
Thank you.
with a brief bow.
I will give a brief bow and head towards the door.
And
Is
then
this-
as soon as I'm stepping out the door, I roll a stealth check
Killing
to
me,
try to
bro.
like go around the corner.
Okay. Before you do that, as you guys are going down the stairs, the guard glances. I was told there were other members of your party. 2 other girls. That's me.
They do not know about Clover.
Yeah, they don't know
I was told there was
Clover
one other
exists.
member. That is correct. He like counts briefly in his head. I was told that there's one other member.
Where's Azalea?
She went out in search of a library. She wanted to be able to read to calm down.
We need to. We will need.
They want to corroborate the fact that, they want to corroborate that I'm telling them the truth.
Well, Azalea was not there for long anyway, so her testimony will not be of much use to you. Can you at
Well,
least
I am-
just start with the 2 of us?
I would prefer to have all of you, or at least the sergeant would, and I would not advise. I am not. I was advised not to leave the
You're
lieutenant waiting.
not
Say again?
being arrested.
Yes, I have no warrants or
But
anything. I am simply acting
they
under
want-
his orders.
Statements of what we heard, specifically.
Very well. I'm gonna go back upstairs, I guess.
Okay.
And I'm gonna at the door.
Alright, Azalea will the door will open like a very slight crack, and you see almost as if it was like a little toddler gazing up. You see small eyes glinting from about 2 feet off the ground, and then it swings open as Azalea quickly beckons you back in and shuts the door behind you. You see Clover standing there with a dagger already like halfway out of her belt. Why are you back already?
I'm going to sit down on the floor, knees in my lap, just like head in the hands. Knees on my lap, head in my hands. Do you understand what I'm describing right
Do you
now?
need elbows?
knees on your lap.
The arm knees, you know, those things.
Arm knees. Oh.
I'm an engineer. I don't need to know these things.
I'm sorry. I was like trying not to. I'm like, am I being an ass? Like, should I just let this go? I'm just like, knees in your lap.
That was a strange sitting position if you put your knees in your own lap.
Well, like I was also like trying to think. I'm like, is that something that's possible? Like, how?
Well, because I was thinking, like, if you fold up butterfly super tight, you can put one knee on your thigh.
I thought you said fold a butterfly.
This has very much derailed us. Okay.
We've got butterfly knees in our lap, and
I mean,
really
if
sorry.
you're very, very double jointed, you might be able to put your knees in your lap.
I don't do that.
I don't
Anyway.
think that's anatomically possible
no matter
without
how
splitting your femurs in
you
half.
are, yeah, your femur does not have any bones in it.
I know. So you chop off someone's leg part way.
That's why it's very, very double jointed.
You have to like
legs
split
off
your
about
leg.
2 inches above the knee, and then you stick your legs, you stick them upside down on the lap, and you've got knees in your lap. Idiots.
I mean, I could just use like
Someone else's
a
knee.
kneecap. I am already carrying a skull.
You know, just like chop off somebody else. You know, like here.
New from the
I bought
Biotech
these
Corp.
for you.
Anyway,
Don't
I
give the
kind of like
folding
sit
femur.
down on the floor, elbows on my lap, head in my hands, like just. Supposedly, we're not under arrest, but there's a guard here to collect us. Thankfully, not you, looking at Clover. They want to corroborate my sister's story.
What story would that be?
The story of what happened at the house.
I don't know, but do we know? if she's
Azalea
told
was
the
not
truth?
there when I was lying. Azalea doesn't know that I was lying.
Azalea was not there for much past, like, the guy died and a guard started coming, so she went out the window.
I gave her
So-
It
money.
wasn't the guard,
and
by
she
the way.
went out
It
the
was the
window.
wife.
What's up?
It wasn't the guard coming, by the way. It was the wife.
It was the wife coming, right. So she knows basically nothing other than the fact that the guy was poisoned.
Partly because she wasn't there that session. We've been trying to keep her out of this whole mess because it's easier not running her.
That's precisely why I was trying to give the DM throw the DM a bone here and be like, won't our stories be enough? And no, she's insistent.
I understand where the sergeant's coming from, though.
I understand, but
Yeah.
from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I also like didn't think that far ahead because I'm dumb and I don't think of these things. I really appreciate you thinking of that, Ethan, because I just realized, yeah, now I have to like talk to myself.
Action
I'll just-
figures! Pew pew! Bang bang! Oh.
Blood, and death. And I was trying desperately to think of what we're
So looking at Azalea, I'm just going to say, they simply need you to tell the truth. You don't know anything beyond the man's wife walking up.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying not to think about it, but I suppose that's all right. If that means that we're not going to be in trouble.
And remember, there is one thing to keep in note. I have told you that the man's wife came, but you left before you found out that she was his wife.
Oh, yeah.
So remember, only
She
say...
responded with appropriate shock.
Yeah. So remember, only say a woman was coming and you knew you needed to get out of there before anything else happened.
Okay, yes. I can do that. If we give our testimony, will we be able to leave? I mean, do we need to keep sneaking around or can we just go without
I'm currently holding less than preferable of a hand of cards, but if we play them right, we should be fine.
I'm just gonna trust you. Okay.
Trust me, I'm very good at spades. And I walk out the door.
Clover's gonna look at Azalea. Does he mean like the game spades? I mean, somebody could also spin that out to be like spades, like digging holes for himself with a spade. Azalea's just gonna look at. I wouldn't read into it that much, and she's just gonna walk down the stairs.
I don't know what voice you just used, but I wish Azaleas talked like that.
I don't know.
All right, so I assume you all collect that at the bottom of the. I'm tired, man. You guys all collect at the bottom of the stairs, or outside the building, and yeah. So the guard now counts over you and nods like as if satisfied. Right, we might as well get going. And he will start walking just behind you. You all like kind of in enough that he in a position where he can like see all of you. And we'll begin heading back in the direction of the guardhouse.
As we're walking back, I'd like to ask, where have you all been? Flash, what has happened while we've been sitting around?
I went and spoke to our generous benefactors.
And what did you tell them?
I'm not going to repeat myself. And this entire time, I'm facing directly forward, just like sub-vocalizing, very quietly speaking, so that she can hear me. But it doesn't look like I'm talking to her.
Okay, so.
And I'm going to basically just tell her the series of lies that I told them, seemingly successfully.
And Van, I'm assuming that when you asked those questions, you were, I don't know, what volume were you speaking at? So it's not doesn't
Quietly and in undercommon.
Okay.
Okay.
Just making sure like you're not just like. And what did you tell them?
Actually, yeah, if I'm talking to Ben, it'll be undercommon. If it was to everybody else, it would be common.
She was just, I just imagine like Finn, you're just going, just
Nice.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to do on your walk over?
Hopefully, just give statements and get out of here.
I'm just gonna tell her. I'm just gonna tell her like the guards tried to take me back. I told them that we were associates of Lieutenant Abab. They let me go, and then somehow misplaced me, and I just came back to just make sure the girls were all right.
And I will inform them that we have chosen to go out on the limb and try and trust the sergeant with the truth.
Good choice.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
what Francis would say.
You all arrive back at the guardhouse, and those of you who haven't been here, you're escorted into the room that I described earlier, with your other counterparts standing there, and a table spread with some refreshments. You notice that most of them are gone at this point. Stuco is off in a corner, licking his chops rather satisfactorily, and Amari is eating what looks to be a handful of dried apricots or some similar fruit.
Ooh.
Ah, you are back. It took a lot. Didn't take us as long as I was expecting.
They happen to all be at the first place I checked. Got lucky.
Convenient. They haven't said anything about the lieutenant showing up yet, so you haven't missed anything. She's gonna stand up. Oh God, can you bring a fresh bowl of some sort of dried meat or something? My cat ate through the last bit of it, and I think we're all kind of hungry. Plus, the cat's probably still hungry. So if you don't mind.
Amari, he's not a servant, right?
Well, I'm assuming they don't actually have servants in here. There was a guard that brought all the stuff, so. Do you mind? I mean, you don't have to, I guess, but we would appreciate it. The guard just rolls his eyes. Fine.
Sorry. Entitled princesses.
Rude. Also, don't throw that around with me. Might get me in more trouble. or it might get us out of this. Actually, maybe do throw it around.
Why do you think I said it?
You notice that the guard did kind of like blink in a bit of surprise. More like, are you actually like? Is that like? Are you being sarcastic? Is that legit? He kind of gives her a quick once over and then exits the room.
Amari.
A few minutes later, yes, sorry, go ahead.
Amari, we of noble birth, we have special privileges, but we also have to hold ourselves to the standard of our titles. That is all. My mother used to say
Yes.
that when walking about with one's head held high, one must always keep one's nose upon a friendly level.
And at exactly this moment, I raise my hand and say, "How long is this going to be, Francis?"
That was all!
Also want to ask that question.
Son of farting biscuit.
That's-
nuggets.
Then looks at her brother and
Inappropriate.
goes.
Don't think about your mother that way.
Then looks at Then, points at the other two, and goes, "This is why in the egalitarian society is a good idea."
And there I would have to agree with you.
We're agreeing?
Shocking, isn't it?
What? That
What
hasn't
did you
happened in a long time.
What did you say?
What, we're agreeing?
Oh my gosh. For your information, I appreciate it, Francis. However, I was simply asking for things based on what I had originally observed. There was a guard who brought us food. I assumed we can ask for a couple other things. The cat doesn't. You don't want the cat. You would rather, trust me, you'd much rather the cat be eating some jerky as opposed to your feet.
This is very true.
Have been there when she tried. That was fun. Still got scars from it.
Can I to Stuco?
Stuka like kind of looks at you, just like. I told you he's in a bad mood. Don't mess with him. He needs a jerky. Otherwise, your foot is going to be the first to go.
Oof.
Oh well. At least my feet are well washed and will taste decent.
That's his, I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Although he's eaten
I
much.
taste
nastier
I
things.
taste good and I'm proud. The correlated time tastes disgusting and I'm proud.
Yes.
So, in an effort to keep things moving quickly, because I have an early morning exam,
Sorry.
can we kind of like gloss over the whole confirming stories thing and just kind of do the Cliff Notes version?
I had planned on that. Hold off for.
This is also me trying to bring the story back to, like, bring us back from
not
derail.
Stuko and feet. It's not Stuko's foot fetish.
New canon: Stuko has a foot fetish.
Nom. Anyway, you guys pace around the room for a little longer, and at last, the door swings open, and a guard enters. This time, coming to attention and standing inside the room, on the opposite of the door. The Sergeant Shabazz enters first, followed by the familiar-ish face of Lieutenant Abab. You notice that he's a good bit taller than Sergeant Shabazz and seems to carry himself with a much more commanding presence. He glances over you. Is this all of them? You're sure? Sergeant Shabazz nods. Yes, this is the entire party as they entered into the city a couple of days ago. Good. He nods to all of you collectively. It is. I will remind you of who I am. I am Lieutenant Abab. I am basically in charge here, and I am here to just ask some questions regarding what has happened. And then we will see what is happening from there. Can I ensure cooperation from me, all of you? I would greatly encourage it to make this significantly easier.
Oh, I also wanted to say, I entirely forgot about this, but I also wanted to say that as part of the conversation of me filling in then on my lies, I wanted her to fill me in on hers.
Okay.
Just on the walk there.
I'll fill him in on the various mess of truth and lies that has been told to various different people.
The very
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I've been telling lots of different lies to people.
So the lieutenant takes a seat. I've been told that you have had some conflicting stories being told throughout your encounter with, well, whatever it is that you saw, as we will hear in a moment, and with what has been told to my guards, as well as to the wife of the deceased. So I would greatly appreciate it if one of you, from the top, could please concisely tell me what exactly has happened. Well, avoid not too concise. We will have questions regarding the details in your individual accounts. Who wants to talk?
I could, but I recommend Felix.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Felix, I think that's... You are the diplomatic young one.
All right. I will
Like
not make
Alan
you spell out the
McFelix.
entire story. Just tell me, is there anything that you are leaving out and or altering?
That kind of depends on how I see him react to the story as it unfolds.
Okay, I can tell you that he's relatively entirely impassive. Like he shifts somewhat sometimes in his chair. There's a couple of slight eyebrow, like he raises his eyebrows a little bit.
Okay.
When
I will tell the whole thing from the perspective of someone who didn't actually see anything happening. But I will tell it as we were on a mission to deliver something, and we were invited in. Then, we had a conversation. I won't go into details about the conversation with the guy necessarily, but I will say that he then offered us a drink. None of us had any, but he had some and died, and that was then when we started freaking out and trying to figuring out what to do, and everybody ended up scattered in various places, and I ended up getting the guards by lying to them.
okay, why did you lie to them?
Because I was afraid. I did not know what we were in the middle of. I knew that we were working for people who were very powerful. I knew that things could be very, very dangerous, especially since we were detained on entering this town simply for being strangers and foreigners. And so I was worried if the way I approached the guards drew too much suspicion, it might end up with us being assumed guilty or arrested or hurt even by a mob. I was not certain. Before we were able to access someone such as yourself who could learn the entire situation and be trusted to deal with it justly.
Also worth pointing out that we didn't know if we'd been set up and if we could trust people or not.
I understand.
It was an attempt to keep from dying or rotting in a cell without question.
Of course. And what exactly? And he'll also ask then what happens in the interim after Felix left.
I will.
Questions? Yeah.
We're up for it. It's the truth.
Okay.
She's sticking to the same truth that she told the sergeant.
Okay. And the you said this man's name was Haran. Haran, his wife, Leah. Did she say anything to you regarding the incident or anything about her husband?
Tasha doesn't remember.
Uh,
It's been a while.
I don't remember either, actually, come to think of it. Oh, no, wait, yes, she did.
Did she?
She did. She mentioned that the gift was she wasn't sure who it was from.
They'd had it for a while.
They'd had it for a while, and I can pass that along.
Okay. And she did, I believe, also tell you that there wasn't anyone that she could think of from their supporters that would want to she couldn't think of anyone who would want to kill her husband. Especially since the gift was from one of their supporters.
She's not entirely off base. It's possible the poison was slipped in after it was given to them.
Yeah, it actually is.
The lieutenant glances over your shoulders at Shabazz. Very well. Thank you, Sergeant. You're dismissed. Those of you who glance back, you notice Shabazz kind of stiffen a little bit. Yes, sir. And he exits the room, and you notice him kind of falter a little bit. Clearly, somewhat and you get the sense that he's frustrated at that he's being sent away. As the lieutenant holds up a hand to indicate to you not to leave. As the door shuts, he waits for a couple of moments. Right. Because of the clear sensitivity of this information, I wanted to have this conversation in confidence. Also, the guard left the room with the sergeant. What exactly was it that was shared with you by Haran?
Information that could tear down the government to an
Parts of
extent.
it, at least.
Yes. So,
Regarding our employers.
supposedly Mirana Talev, there is evidence of her having had an affair. And not only an affair, but one with another woman.
And allowing
And
that to influence policy.
And they were allowing said woman to make decisions in policy that were not necessarily the decisions that should have been made.
Thank you.
They believed that this could be used as blackmail, and that they could have the Talevs taken down from their post as ambassador and husband.
When you talked to them then, was there a reaction to you informing them?
When I told them that he had died, there was distrust to an extent, but Mirana immediately sent her husband away. I don't know if it was to confirm or if she was less afraid that something would come up. Relieved, I suppose, would be the word.
How sure are you of this information?
Of what information?
That Haran has shared. Was his demeanor one of full paranoia? Was this madness, conspiracy theories, or did he seem short of information and of himself?
He was sure of himself. He was confident, and he seemed to be in his right mind.
He also
That is
seemed...
not... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You were talking.
That is not, however, what I told the Talevs. To ensure that they did not do anything brash in trying to contain information, I told them that he was stark raving mad.
I see.
He was also shockingly paranoid. He was clearly aware that the information that he had, be it true or not, was likely to get him into trouble, and was impressively paranoid as a result.
I believe he did not seem to act entirely as a normal person, I think. His willingness to suddenly share with a bunch of strangers much of this information seemed like someone who's
desperate to not let the word die out.
Yes, as though he were afraid he was soon going to be removed from the situation one way or another.
He wanted to recruit us almost to his
Yes,
side.
and he was
Yes,
very
Yeah.
much trying to convince us of his opinion to the point to try and, make us help him in some ways.
one
he
could
mean
say
that?
that he seemed afraid of his own silence.
That's a good way to put it.
Did he mention any? You mentioned that his wife Leah said that the wine was from one of his supporters. Did he name any of them?
He did not, but she said that it was. Yeah, she did say something specific about the supporters. She said it was from a group, I think, of Knowles.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
I believe she did.
Yeah.
She
No,
did,
no.
yes, she
That's
did.
right. That's right.
Yes,
I
she
forgot
mentioned
all
it
about that.
in connection with the Knowles because she found that she was incredulous that they would do something like this because they are at the base of society and they have the most to lose from. I think her words were that they had the most to lose from this deal.
However, we did not know that the poison was through all of the wine. None of us tried any of the wine, but none of us tried anything from any of his other dishes.
And
It could have
it's
been dispersed in any number of ways. None
Yep.
of us are experts on this.
By the way,
Okay.
this is Ethan talking, not Thenmir.
Mhm.
But the Knolls would have something significant to gain if they could start hacking away at the government, because if they're in the lowest caste, but the government
They
that
can-
has put them there
Yeah.
they've only
is
got up
taken
to there.
down,
Yeah.
they can only go up.
That's true.
Although it seems to me it's likely to be a localized scandal within the government.
Yeah. Like,
Yes, but every step is still progress.
how
Yeah.
powerful is Mirana Telev though? Like, how really powerful is she? Do we actually know?
I imagine as an ambassador, she answers to some pretty important people.
That's true. That's right. That's right.
But she's a foreign ambassador, which means she's most likely not influencing domestic policy.
But rather, image of the nation, other nations.
Right.
And well, if she has been selling
She's-
secrets,
She's foreign relations rather than domestic
Yeah.
affairs.
What do you mean
Honestly,
she's been
though,
selling secrets?
with what we've learned of this country, it seems like everything is really related from one part of the government to another.
yeah, it's
So-
almost like familial, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something
Well,
like that.
I'm gonna have you save your speculations for when we're done because I do want to try and start moving towards wrap up.
Okay.
Already.
Well, just because Ethan's
Ethan's got a
worried
test.
about
a
Ethan's
big
got
ol'
early stuff, and I this was kind of the main thing that I wasn't expecting this to go as long, but just for the sake of time, I do want to. I'm aiming to be done at the very latest by 11, and because people's got early classes. Of course so she mentions Knowles. She mentioned no other organized supporters or sects of people who would.
She did not seem to trust us completely.
That's yes, but of their supporters.
If
Did-
I'm to be honest, I wouldn't entirely count her out on being the to have killed her husband.
That is not my question. I am asking did she mention any supporters or allude to any specific groups? that
Aside
do
from the
support-
Knolls, that was it.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say by she didn't trust us. She wasn't particularly keen on sharing information.
I see. Thank you for your candidness. The
Candor.
government of Jalbar thanks you for your cooperation. I have a suggestion for you. He leans a little bit forward and places his hands on the table. As I'm sure you are well aware, you are in a very unique position coming witnesses to this event, as you have told it, perhaps the only true witnesses to it. We cannot lose that information. This will be taken and given a proper investigation for the sake of our citizens and there will likely be other questions to be asked and cross-examinations. We cannot quite so easily allow you to leave the city. I understand that that is probably not the outcome that you are wishing for. I'm able to tell you that the Talevs, we have no reason to distrust, and we have no reason to believe that you are that you are in any sort of danger from them, to the best of our knowledge.
Save for the threat that I was given as I left.
That I cannot speak to, other than the Talevs, as members of political society and as advocates for their people, they wish for complete honesty when things like this happen.
So, just to be clear here, we have given you a full statement. The information has now been passed along to you as we have gained it, so it is not dying at us, and yet you are going to keep us in the city where we may still be targeted without being able to leave.
That is not quite what it's at.
That's exactly how it sounds.
How about you let me finish, and we can see where we are from there. Would that be acceptable?
Please continue then.
I have a proposition for you. In order to avoid unnecessary scrutiny and any sort of unnecessary targeting, we would like you to work with us. You have proven yourselves to be very competent, very well skilled. The Taleb spoke highly of your abilities and of your rescue of their son. You have already contributed much to the community by your help, and you have no idea how much you have contributed by your honesty here. We would like to give you, in exchange for you staying in the city, because we will likely still need your statements as part of our investigation and potential.
Just took statements.
Don't worry. In order to best support and keep you under protection, we would very much like you to help us with the ensuing investigation and continue to follow these rabbit trails and see where they lead. In exchange, we can give you the guards full protection. And I do not mean our typical city guards. As much as they are helpful, they are minimally trained. We would be able to provide you with some more intense security. Perhaps not more than 1 or 2 guards at one time, but you would be protected. We would also be able to give you a more permanent place to stay for the time being on our budget, of course. You have nothing to lose by helping us, is my point. You may have more to lose, at least in the public's eyes, if you leave.
So I have one thing to say out of character. When did they talk to the Talebs?
You don't know.
That's why I'm saying out of character.
I mean,
Like,
the
bringing
Taleb's son was kidnapped. They probably were some kind of, formal interaction with the police over that.
Yeah, I bet.
Yes,
I bet
but they
so.
talked about us. Since when have they had the time to do that? The Talebs would only have information about us since we delivered their son, which is only a couple of hours ago. He's saying they've talked to the Talebs in the last few hours, basically.
Right.
Well,
That
Again,
appears
that's
to be what's
entirely
being said.
possible.
it's been longer than we think, right? Because it's the next
All been the
Yeah,
same
it's
day
been
now,
definitely no. It's definitely not been 2 hours because you guys have been over at.
I said a few hours, not 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
But
that
it
is
hasn't
definitely
been more than a handful of hours.
it's definitely possible that they could
It's
have
very
talked to him.
possible that the Talebs, immediately briefed with the police, or that this guy, the reason he was delayed in coming and talking to us for an hour was because he was dealing with the Talebs. He's of some kind of importance.
That's possible. Also, we never saw. Also, what's your face? Then Fenmir never saw Anhedi.
I did at the beginning of the interaction, but then he was sent out.
Sent away.
Sent away. I see. The Taleb's marriage is shining through in all its glorious colors.
Can we have a little bit of time to talk and decide if we'd like to help you or not? Give us, say, overnight?
We would ask that you make a decision in the next couple of hours. And for the sake of your integrity and our ease of not having to try and find you, in case you decide to try and slip out in the night, we would ask that you make your decision here before you leave here. And of course, you would be compensated for your time significantly.
Hey, we get paid again, guys.
For people who are not under arrest, we're being confined quite a lot.
It's politics, my dear. Bureaucracy. You have been around quite a few too many things for us to be able to keep things too quiet. People have eyes, people have mouths. You are our best shot at being able to figure this out.
Does this city have rules about unlawful detainment?
Knowledge local. I
Think
have to
about
say.
my offer, please.
Yes, gossip does spread ever so quickly. That was part of my research and a way of stopping that. That was more like muttered to myself, but loud enough for people to hear.
Wait, I'm sorry. I what did you say?
I said, yes, gossip does have quite a way of spreading quickly. That was part of my research, a way of stopping that.
Okay. Yes. I just want to check one thing.
I would love to see Fenmir's resume.
I have the vast majority of it typed up.
Notable events. Rips general's arms off.
And how do you feel like this personally affected your workplace experience? How has this armed you to better serve our customers in the future?
Because it de-armed him. What?
Oh.
Let me add a second layer to this. In order to, I've been allowed to make this deal with you.
By whom?
By my superiors, for one, due to my place in the city as lieutenant, and also as members of the Talev's private security, and not quite private, but we work very closely with the Talevs as they are politicians and members of the general bureaucracy. I have, unfortunately, Anhedi was not able to be here to speak with you directly, but he would very much like for you to be able to assist us. It may be that we do not need your further statements, as you have said. You have given a full statement, and perhaps hopefully the information will be enough to go on. But we would like you to Anhedi and Mirana would both like you to be involved and help figure out what exactly is going on. They are not interested in the continuous death of their citizens. They would not like a killer to remain on the loose, and again, you have proven yourselves to be quite competent. In exchange, you would be, again, paid, and he is able, and the Talebs are able to give you far more protection than further-reaching protection than what the city guards are able to do, and we are able to keep you. We are able to provide you with a small security detail, as I mentioned, but they are also able to give you further political protection, asylum, if you will, in case anything turns incredibly sour. Hopefully you will prevent that from happening if you help.
And if our greatest wish is to get the hell off of your politics and leave your city? Hypothetically?
I understand that. Anhedi wishes to it.
Again, we're not from this country.
Yes.
And without trying to be blunt, we kind of don't care what happens here.
Anhedi understands that, and I, of course, understand that. And Anhedi wishes to add that if you are able to finish this job, if you're able to help us determine who the killer is and bring us the stop to them, it is likely that the Talebs will be able to get you safe passage to Mariel in order to get out of the country. However, you will, if not, you will you will have to get yourselves out. Which you are welcome to do, but you will not be able. We will not be able to assist you in that endeavor. However, regardless of what you choose to do, it is highly advised that you do something. I would not advise. Neither of us would advise that you stay in Jalbar for much longer in either situation. Wanted to realize that you were present with Haran, as again, I see things and Mal spreads things. Wanted to realize that you were present with Haran at his death and have had some dealings with us. It is likely that whoever assassinated him will take quick action against you as well. And that we cannot promise protection over if we do not know where the attack is coming from. So, you're welcome to go it alone, though we do would highly recommend that you work with us, and we would advise. But if you choose to leave, we would still ask that you stay for at least a day or so, just to ensure that there are no loose ends that still need to be tied up. But beyond that, I cannot advise you unless you are willing to work with us.
Will you allow us to return to the privacy of our inn room to discuss this? And we shall send you a messenger with our response within 2 hours.
Make a diplomacy check.
Frick. I put everything away.
Want me to roll?
Yeah, can you roll a d20 for me?
Yeah, I got you. Natural 19.
Hey!
Nice.
Making up
So
for all
21.
those threes yesterday.
21.
The
We
question
will
is,
allow
are
you
you
to
feeling
return to
22?
the inn. However, it will again be under guard. And again, I would ask you, please do not, at the very least, please do not leave without giving us a response.
Understood.
I cannot promise that will, if you choose to sneak out, that will not. I can guarantee you that will not be received well by any of the parties involved, particularly the Televs.
Let's pull a Scooby-Doo and get out of here.
All
Do you
right,
have
gang.
any further questions?
Do you have a privy here?
Yes.
Huh. Neat.
Very well.
Sorry, the shack didn't have a privy.
The love
was
shack.
scrolling- I was scrolling through the quotes.
I will leave you to make your decision. One of the guards will be happy to escort your party back to the inn. We thank you again for your cooperation. He sits back in the chair. I want to ensure that I apologize that our customs have caused much consternation among you. I know that it would be preferred to simply make your statement and go. However, this is a very volatile situation, and we are trying to manage as many pieces as possible without creating a panic and without endangering other people, particularly outsiders who, depending on who you are, may bring the wrath of other nations upon our heads, in addition to our already volatile situation with Stereos. So, again, we request your cooperation, but your decision is your own. He stands,
Very well.
nods to you, and exits, leaving the door open. A couple seconds later, a guard re-enters and nods to you. I will gladly escort you back to your quarters. And that is where we're gonna cut off for tonight. All right. Do we have quote?
We do.
I feel like our discussion from like in the hotel room of what our decision is can be done over Facebook Messenger?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah.
If you guys wanna do that, that's
I'm
fine.
in favor of that.
I may have you guys just do like a quick recap just for the sake of the stream and for watchers, because we all know how much we love watching Critical Role, where they argue about things for 3 hours and then finally make a decision that they, landed on like 5 times before.
Actually, I'd like to propose maybe at the end of our streams, we just have like a 5-minute recap for people who maybe can't watch or people who want to get an update just on what they missed.
What do you mean?
Like just have something that we can refer to if we don't remember what happened in a certain session. Just something we could go back to, like really.
That's what we do at the start of the stream.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
so he's saying, say you missed a session and you want to know what happened before the next session starts. You go back to the last video on YouTube, pull up the last 10 minutes, and you watch those. And somewhere in the last couple minutes, there's a quick recap of what happened in that session, I think is what Andrew's saying.
Gotcha.
Am I right? Am I off base?
No, you're exactly right, actually.
Okay.
Did I fly off the edge of a cliff?
Yeah. So
Thanks. That's actually not. That's a good idea. All right. 2-second recap. You guys met with Sergeant Shabazz, who you gave your entire story to. In the meantime, or Ben and Felix and Amari gave their stories to. In the meantime, Fen returned to the hotel room and tried to get Clover and Francis and Azalea ready to go upon while he was about to head out to do something. I don't think you ended up actually mentioning he ran into Ven, who was being escorted back by the guards to collect the rest of the party in order to take them all to give their statement to Lieutenant Bob, which you did. Then also made a stop over by the Talevs and gave them a half-true story of what happened at Haran's house. It seemed to, but throughout that conversation, it seemed to Sen that Mirana may not have entirely believed him and pressed him for more information when it seemed that it seemed to her that he had withheld some details. Upon leaving, he was told to please not withhold anything and was sent back to the hotel. And we looped back around to meeting with Lieutenant Abab. So, that's what happened this time. We'll see you guys next time. But before we go, let's have some quotes. If there are quotes.
There are.
I can take the first one.
Go for it.
Tasha, the teleporting cannibal, coming to TBS soon. Andrew.
The coin has multiplied. When a mommy coin and a daddy coin love each other very much. Andrew, I wish it worked that way. Noah.
And then there was my knees on my lap. You know what I'm describing? Elbows? Gabrielle. Those! Arm knees! I'm an engineer. I don't need to know these things.
Oh.
I still insist that I don't need to know what those are called.
Okay, keep calling
Right up until you fall on the stairs. and
call the police.
I broke my arm knee.
I broke my arm.
Doctor, I broke my arm knee.
Do you mean elbow?
No,
I'm an engineer. It's just your.
I don't need to know what it's called.
Oh my word.
My leg knee, my arm knee.
I don't know those newfangled terminologies.
Them fancy words that you kids these days are always having.
All right, so.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching and enjoying our mild chaos. It's more than mild. It's chronic chaos.
It's good to be back.
We will hopefully see you guys next week. But if not, we will see you next time. God bless America and your butt and your cat's butt.
Okay, we do not need to bless my butt. My cat's butt is fine.
I couldn't think of anything in the moment. It's okay. All right.
Good night and Godspeed.
Night, Kira.
Goodbye, Scott, if you're there. Good night, Kira.
Good night, Kira.
And